section of 2.2 is all about the slope of a line. So slope is used to describe the steepness of a line. So if I've got positive slope, it's like I'm going uphill. If I've got negative slope, you can think if I put a ball on this, it would roll downhill. Well, I guess it'd roll downhill over too, but don't pay attention to that. So we could walk downhill. Horizontal slope has a slope of 0, so I put my bowling ball on it, it doesn't go anywhere. And vertical slope is undefined. I'm going to show you why that's the case in a little bit. One thing to keep in mind, think about what else is undefined in mathematics. Well, one thing we can never do is divide by 0. So that's my little hint, hint, wink, wink when it comes to vertical slope. So in order to calculate slope, we define slope as our change in x over our change in y. What does that mean? So that's our change in y. I misspoke. So let's talk about how to calculate slope. We define slope of our line to be the ratio of vertical change to horizontal change, given 2 points on our line. It's commonly referred to as rise over run. This greater the number, the steeper my line. So when we calculate slope, the slope formula, m, is my change in y over my change in x, given any 2 points. So you always want to make sure, it doesn't matter again which point is your x1, y1, and which point is your x2, y2, but you want to make sure that you're first inspecting using the points from the x and y's from one point, subtracting the x and y's from that other point, right? We don't want to get them mixed up. So I always start by labeling my x1s, x2s, and y1s, y2s. So I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is my change in my y values over the change in my x values. So here I've got 3 minus a negative 1 over negative 4 minus 2. So 3 minus a negative 1, that's going to be 3 plus 1 over negative 6, which is 4 6, negative 4 6, which is negative 2/3. Note, when it comes to slope, keep this as a fraction. Keep this as a fraction. When it comes to graphing using slope, you will thank me. So keep these as a fraction, please and thank you. Let's take a look at the slope of this second point. So I'm going to label my x's and y's. So I have my change in y over my change in x. That's going to be 2 minus 4 over 5 minus 1, which is negative 2/4, which is negative 1/2. Remember to always simplify all fractions. So the slope-intercept form of an equation of a non-vertical line with slope m equals and y-intercept b is y equals mx plus b. And to find the slope-intercept form, we solve the standard form for y. So why is this important? Well, before we had the standard form, right, which was ax plus by equals c. And if I'm looking at this equation, I know nothing about what my graph looks like. I don't know how steep of a slope it is, if the slope is positive, if the slope is negative. I don't know where it crosses the y-axis. If I solve for y and get it into slope-intercept form, I automatically know my slope, so I know how steep in a uphill or downhill direction my slope is, and I know my y-intercept, so I know where my graph crosses the y-axis. So let's go ahead and find the slope-intercept form of these equations. So if I have 3x minus 4y is 12, I subtract 3x from both sides, I get negative 4y equals negative 3x plus 12. Then I have to divide both sides by negative 4. So I didn't give myself enough room. Y equals positive 3/4 x minus 3. So now that this is in slope-intercept form, I know some things about this graph. One, it has a positive slope. That slope is a fraction. It's not a big positive number, so it's not super steep. It's not like we're walking up a very, very steep flight of stairs. This is more like a nice, easy on-ramp. And that its y-intercept is negative, right? One thing that I'd like you to get good at as we go through this class, is really good at visualizing what the graphs of functions, specifically linear equations at this moment in time, look like. Next, let's take a look at y equals 2. Oh, this is already in slope-intercept form, but wait, there's no x term. This is y equals 0x plus 2. My slope is 0, right? Remember, this graph is a horizontal line. And my y-intercept is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. That would be the ordered pair.